We're going to start by sitting on the mat, but if you choose to sit on a chair, that's perfect. Make sure your socks are off if you're using a mat. If the bottoms of your feet provide friction and it wakes up the bottoms of your feet, there's a lot of meridians there. Now, position yourself in the middle of your mat with your legs straight ahead. Take your right hand and bring that hand to the crease under your knee. Bring that knee out to the side and let it lower down. Take your left hand to the inner crease of the left knee and have that leg cross in front of the right leg. You'll be crossing your legs at mid-shin. Now, if you choose, in this beginner's class, you can always have a blanket. And if sitting down flat on the mat causes you discomfort, you can take a blanket, fold it in half, and sit on that blanket. So this is called Sukhasana. We cross our legs at mid-angle, at mid-shin. Then take your hands, and if you're sitting on a chair like Christine, move away from the backrest of your chair, sliding forward a bit, and then take your hands to the chair seat or the blanket or the mat, whatever you have, and then lift up your chest. Push down in your hands and then lift up. Feel how you have lengthened the side rib area. Feel how you're opening your chest. With the shoulders rolled back, you might even feel the shoulder blades pushing towards the spine. You'll be grounding into those sit bones, the bottom of the buttocks, the bottom of the pelvis. Now, try to keep that tallness as you release your hands and bring your hands to your knees. Remember, we're thinking about pressing down in the sit bones, lifting up through the side ribs to the armpit chest. Now, bring both arms straight up to the ceiling. You can see how pressing down into your sit bones, lifting through the side ribs, opening up the armpit chest and stretching through your fingers. Tummy will pull in a little bit and you'll roll a little bit on the sit bones towards the back wall, but not too much. Keep yourself tall. Perfect. Take an inhale, exhale, and let those arms release out to the side and down. We're going to stay in this position and do a side stretch. Take your left hand to the chair seat or your mat and bring the right arm straight up. If you're on a mat, let that left hand slide out as you bring the right arm towards the left. Now, sometimes that right sit bone will lift up as well. Push that down and you'll feel more stretch through the right side, ribs, the obliques, and you can even reach through your fingertips. Allow that right arm to pull you back up and bring that left hand in. Let's change the cross of our legs. Extend each leg out, shake them out if they're a little tense, and then take your left hand first to the crease under the left knee, bring that shin in, do the same thing to your right knee, and we're changing the cross of our legs. Take your right hand to the chair seat or to the mat and slide that right hand out. Start to lift the left arm up and bring it over your left ear. Press down into that left sit bone so you keep an even pelvis. stretch through the left side ribs, the oblique muscles. And then let that arm pull you back up and let your right hand slide back in. We're going to come to a twist now. Take your right hand, swing it out to the right side and behind you. Hold on to your chair seat or whatever's back there, and take your hand to your left hand to your right knee. Sit up tall, and then begin to turn gently to the right. Stay there for a few moments. And breathe. We're warming up the upper torso. Take an inhale, exhale, release, and unwind, come back to center. I think someone else is trying to get into this class. Let me see. Yes. Okay. So, let's see. Good morning, Joan. Come on in. Good to have you here, Joan. Can you hear me, Joan? Start your video, Joan. Let's see. Joan, are you with us yet? Start your video, Joan, if you want. I don't hear anything from Joan. Her video should be on, and her mic is on. Joan, can you hear me? Oh, it's because I muted everybody. There's so much to think of here. Let's see. Marie, did I lose you? All right, we'll continue on. We're going for that twist on the left side now. Sit tall again, and take your left hand and swing it out to the left side and behind you so you can hold on to the blanket. Let the right arm come across your body to the outer left knee. Grow tall by taking an inhale and extending your spine. Take an inhale, exhale, and twist to the left. Just warming up the upper torso. Then release, unwind, and come back to center. If you're sitting on a blanket, you can remove that blanket. And I'm going to use a yoga belt. You don't have to have a yoga belt. You can be sitting in a chair or laying on your mat. So let me encourage those people that are on a mat to lay down in a Tadasana on the floor, where your legs are straight, your head is resting on the mat, your arms are at your side. We're going to bring the right knee in. So that means, Christine, you bring your right knee up to your chest. Take your hands and interlace your fingers on the shins and draw that right knee into your chest. You'll feel a waking up or a sensation in those muscles around the right side of the pelvis. Then release and let that leg come down. Bring your left knee up to your chest. Interlace your fingers and let your hands rest on that left shin. Draw that knee towards your chest wherever you can manage, and you'll feel some sensation in the muscles around that left side of the pelvis, the hip. And then release that leg down. Now bring both legs up. Doesn't have to be high, but if you're laying down on the mat, take your hands, one to each shin, and draw both knees up. Christine, you could do one knee at a time. Perfect. Then, if you're laying on a mat, let your feet rise up towards the ceiling. Bring your arms on the inside of your knees. Grab on to the outer edges of your feet, and we're coming into happy baby pose. As the knees draw down towards the sides of your chest, you'll feel stretch in the outer hips, a little bit in the hamstrings, a little bit in the quadriceps, and then release your hands. Take your hands to the sides of your legs, the sides of your knees, push them together, and let your feet come to the floor. Then allow both knees to fall out to the side. Heels and toes are touching. This is called bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. You can take your hands and take those hands to the inner thighs and stroke up to the inner knee. Christine, you could just bring the inner edges of your feet together and let your knees fall out to the sides. Then take your hands, slide them to the outer thigh, and push those knees back together. We'll extend our arms in a T position and let the palms lift up. You'll separate your feet until you find the long edges of your mat. Let the knees fall to the right, and you'll feel a twist in the lower torso. The left side of the body will lift gently away from the floor as you feel that twist. Then lift the knees up, let the knees fall to the left. Again, you feel that slight raise of the back waist on the right. And some more stretching through the hip muscles, the IT band. And then bring your knees back up. Lower your arms to your side, and we're going to roll to the right side and lift ourselves up. We're going to come to child's pose and then tabletop. So in child's pose, you'll be first in tabletop. Have your shoulder, elbow, and wrist line up, knees under hips. Walk those knees out towards the long edge of your mat a little bit. Have the toes touch and push the sit bones down towards your heel. Let your head release down to the mat and let your arms stretch out. Your sit bones will come near your heels. Christine, who is sitting in a chair, can put her hands on her kneecaps and slide them down the shin as she forward bends towards her thighs. What a nice stretch for the whole spine. Then release gently and lift yourself up. We're going to bring those knees back in, curl the toes, and come into a downward facing dog. This downward facing dog is not going to have straight legs. We're going to subtract the hamstrings from this variation of down dog because some people do have very tight hamstrings. So first watch, and then you can do it. So I'm curling my toes underneath my feet, and I'm lifting the knees up. I'm going to press my sit bones back and be on the balls of my feet. Knees are bent. I'm lifting the knees just slightly. Knees are not straight. Instead, I'm working on a long spine. So the sit bones press up towards the ceiling as I lengthen through my arms. This subtracts the hamstrings from being part of this variation. Then walk your feet or your hands towards each other. Keep the bent knees, and you'll come into a forward bend. In this forward bend, if your hands don't come down to the mat, you can hold opposite elbows, keeping your knees bent, feeling length in the long spine you're creating. Subtracting those hamstrings that might be tight out of this downward facing dog. Then release your hands. Take your hands to the back, buttocks, and then slide those hands down the buttocks to help lift yourself up into a tall position. Then standing, we'll come into Tadasana. Today's class has a lot to do with Tadasana and the natural curves in your body. So to start with, I'd like you to bring your feet close together, big toes touching, arches touching, and the inner heels touching. Feel all four corners of your feet. That's the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the inner and outer heel. Stretch your toes apart if you can. And I can't. I can stretch a few. And then lower those toes down. Feel those four corners of your feet again and come up the shin to the kneecap. Now imagine that you can lift the muscle from the kneecap up into the thigh muscle. You'll feel contraction in the thigh muscles. Now, think about rolling those thighs into the middle line of your body. Press back in the thighs. So you start stretching the hamstrings. Pull tummy muscles in. Lift through the crown of your head to extend the spine. Then release your hands from your tummy and roll each shoulder back. Do a little squeeze of those shoulder blades towards each other. Did you forget your tummy? Try to pull those tummy muscles in again. Lift through the crown of your head to lengthen your neck. Maybe dropping the chin just slightly down, you can feel the length of the back of your neck. Go down to your feet again, press down, and lift through the crown of your head. Let your arms come up to shoulder level now. Flip the palms, and those rotated long arm muscles are reaching towards the fingertips. Lift both arms up towards your ears. My arms are cut off now, but that's okay. You know that you could have your arms parallel, palms facing each other, or you could have a V shape. You manage where you can go in this pose, Urdhva Hastasana. Then let those arms come out to the side, flip the palms, and lower your arms down. Now I'd like to bring back your attention to your spine, your Tadasana. So you're pressing down into your feet. You'll feel an arch in your middle thoracic spine with the shoulders rolled back. Perfect. So now we're going to come into another downward facing dog. So what I'd like you to do is return to your tabletop pose. Position yourself with shoulder, elbow, and wrist again. And this time, we're going to straighten the legs, but still stay on the balls of the feet. I'm hoping that you'll feel a strong lift in the sit bones. Okay, let's try it. Curl the toes, lift the knees, press the sit bones back towards your heels, and then straighten your legs, staying on the balls of your feet, and lift those sit bones up as high as you can. Feel the stretch, the lengthening of your spine. Press into your hands, especially the thumb mound and the index finger mound, and feel a lift through the inner arm to the armpit chest. Roll the inner thighs back towards the midline of your body and then back behind you. Arms are straight as you can manage. Then walk your feet or your hands towards each other, and we're coming into forward bend. In forward bend, your feet are about hip distance apart. Maybe your hands touch the mat. Maybe you need to have hands on elbows. Now, we're not on the balls of the feet, we're on the full foot. You may feel a huge stretch in your hamstring. If that is too much for you, bend your knees. Go where you can go. Then take your hands to the back of your buttocks, smooth those buttocks down, and lift yourself back up. Excellent work, everybody. All right, we're coming to our last downward facing dog, where we have straight legs and we try to get the heels down. So one more time, come back to your tabletop position. Shoulder, elbow, and wrist lining up, pressing into the thumb mound, the index mound, curling the toes, lifting the knees, pressing the sit bones back to the heels, the knees rise up a little bit, and then staying on the balls of the feet, straightening the legs, lifting those sit bones up to the ceiling as much as you can, and then lower the heels down any amount. Stop when you feel those hamstrings stretching. You're at the best place for your body. Never force, never strain. Nice job, everybody. Walk your feet and hands towards each other. And here is your last forward bend. Forward bends are discussed as being a cooling pose to be in. If your hands are not touching the floor, you can hold opposite elbows. And then take your hands to the buttocks, smooth the buttocks down, and lift yourself up. Perfect. Yes, we're getting to another pose, no worries. We're going to come into triangle pose, and on the right side and on the left side, and then Tadasana to see how it feels back in Tadasana. So for triangle pose, start in the middle of your mat and then open your legs wide. The sides of your feet right now are parallel to the short ends of your mat. Your toes are pointed forward. Pivot on the left heel and turn those toes in. Bend the right knee, lift up the right toes, and pivot on that right heel. Lower that foot down. Line up the right heel with the left instep. When that's completed, press into the outer left heel. The instep will rise up a bit. Start to grip your knee and imagine pulling those muscles up into the thigh muscle. Then press the left thigh to the front of the left thigh to the back left thigh. Maintain all that action. And now in the right leg, press in that big toe mound. You'll feel some energy come up the inside of the leg. Your legs are ready. Let's work on the upper torso. Bring the upper torso forward to face the camera. Extend your arms so fingertips point to opposite sides of the room. Try to maintain length from the top of the pelvis, that round hip bone, coming up the sides of your ribcage into the armpit chest. These arms are as important as the rest of the pose. Now, draw those arms back a little bit so you feel the shoulder blades coming to the spine and your chest lifting up and opening. So, we're going to reach out with the right arm. Notice your left hip is starting to press out to the left side. Reach as far as you can with your right arm and then lower down to the shin. Now, if that's not available to you, go to your thigh, but never the knee. Your left arm can bend at the elbow and the hand can be placed on the left hip. Now, we've changed the shape of standing up in Tadasana, and we're going to roll the left shoulder back. See how that pulls the left side of your chest up towards the ceiling. Now, make sure you're trying to keep length on that right side of the rib cage. Press the right sit bone forward towards the camera, and then press the left sit bone down to your left heel. You can stay here or lift that left arm straight up to come into Kriyanasana. Then use your left fingertips to lift you back up. Lower your arms. Pivot on your right heel. So now feet, the outer edges of your feet, are facing the short ends of your mat. Let's do the left side. Pivot on your left heel. The right heel. Toes in. Bend your left knee, lift your left toes, and pivot on that left foot. Line up the left heel with the right instep. While you're here, think about creating length in the rib cage again. Those oblique muscles are getting a stretch by lifting up and rolling those shoulders back. Start with your right leg and press into the outer right heel. You'll see a little bit of an instep rise. Come to your kneecap on the right leg and imagine pulling that up into the right thigh. Contract those muscles in the right thigh and push back to the back thigh muscles. Come to your left leg and press into the big toe mound. You'll feel some sensation coming up the inside of your leg. The legs are settled in now. Let's fix the torso. Think about that length again, up the side ribs, and extend your arms. Reach through the fingertips and start to reach over with your left arm, keeping that length on the left side rib cage, and then lowering down to your shin. Now, if this is not available to you, go to that thigh. Bend the right elbow, bring your right hand to your right hip. Roll that right shoulder back and feel the right side of your chest opening up to the ceiling. Try to maintain that. Press the left sit bone forward. Press the right sit bone down towards your heel. Right heel. Stay here or choose to get classic with that right arm extending up to the ceiling. Triangle pose. Utthita Trikonasana. This pose has many elements to it. Different muscles, all different muscles are stretching here. Lift through your right fingertips, lift all the way up, and then roll over on the heels again, so the sides of your feet are parallel to your mat. Walk your feet in, and let's feel that Tadasana again. Now, if having your feet so close together makes you unstable, please separate your feet about hip distance apart. You choose what's right for you. Start with pressing down into all four corners of your feet, coming up the shin to grip those knees, pull up in the thighs, roll the inner thighs back, tummy pulls in, lift through the crown of your head. Shoulders are rolled back, hands are at your side. Tadasana. Maybe your Tadasana feels a little different. Maybe it feels a little more comfortable. And release. We're going to come to tree pose, my least favorite pose. We're going to do the right side, bending the right knee, and then we'll bend the left knee, so we get both sides in. If you feel unstable, being in the middle of the room for tree pose, maybe there's a wall nearby that you can lean against, lean your back against. Maybe you have a chair nearby and you can hold on to the chair. It's all good in a beginner class. I'll try to do it right in the middle of the room. So don't be surprised if I fall over. Okay, Tadasana. Think about pressing down into your feet, lifting up through the crown of your head. Please watch this demonstration. You'll be bending the right knee, lifting up the right heel. All of a sudden, all the weight is transferred to your left leg. So you have to make sure that left leg is ready. Mine is saying no already. Pivot on the right heel, right ball of the foot, and bring your right heel to the inner left ankle. You'll see that shape of tree pose as my knee has bent and moved out to the side. Now, sometimes when you move this right knee out to the right side, your left hip starts to press out too much. You don't have an even pelvis. So think about this left side coming in and compressing both sides together. You can still hold on to the chair, you can lean against the wall. You can come to Namaste hands. The The next place to come in a tree pose is to challenge yourself by lifting your foot to the inner left thigh. Now you have to keep an eye, an imaginary eye, on that left foot because you have to press down into all four corners equally and lean a little bit into the midline of your body. Keep the hips compressed as you bring your hands to your heart. Maybe, or hold on. Okay, let's shake your legs out. That left leg may be really tired. Shake it out a little bit. And then come back into your Tadasana. Then we'll start with the left knee. Start to bend that left knee, lifting the left heel, and pivot on the left ball of the foot, bringing your left heel to the inner right ankle. All your weight is shifting over to your right leg. So you have to get that leg in position. Toes are straight ahead on that right leg. You're gripping the knee, contracting the thigh, pressing the thigh towards the back thigh. The quadricep is ready. And you have to be careful of that right hip jutting out. So try to compress those hips. And if this feels good to you, hold on to a chair, lean against the wall, have your hands at your heart. Namaste hands. Now, if you want to go further, remember you can lift the toes up and bring that left foot to the inner right calf muscle. And then press into all four corners of that right foot, leaning a little bit to the middle line of your body, and hands at your heart. And then release, and come back into Tadasana. Shake that right leg out a little bit if you want. Tadasana. Take some breath. We're going to come into a little bit of a flow now. We're going to do Warrior Two, triangle pose, and then back to Warrior Two. Start with Tadasana, and then separate your legs like you did for triangle pose. Pivot on the left heel, pivot on the right heel, and line up the right heel with that left instep. I'm going a little wider because where Trikonasana, triangle pose, had a straight leg, we're looking for a bent knee in Warrior Two. So the bent knee should be over the ankle, and you should be stretching from the inner groin along the inner thigh out to the inner knee, and then around again to the outer hip. Press into that outer left heel. Remember how we did it for triangle pose? Same kind of leg. Then fix your torso to face the camera. Make sure you're pressing into that right knee and extend your arms. Now don't forget, these arms are very important, so make them reach in opposite directions. Look over your right arm. Then lower your arms, straighten your right knee. That makes this shape of the pose easy for triangle pose. Extend your arms, lower that right arm down to the right shin or thigh. Bend the left elbow, bring the left hand to your hip, and roll that left shoulder back to open that left side of your chest to the ceiling. Bring that right buttock forward, the left buttock down to the heel. Keep your hand on your hip or choose that arm, left arm to come up stacking shoulders over shoulders. Then reach up through your left fingertips, lift yourself up, lower your arms. Pivot on your right heel and your left heel again. Have the left heel line up with the right instep. And bend into that left knee. You want that left knee over the left ankle. Then, lift up through the side ribs, extend your arms, reach through those fingertips, and look over your left arm. Now sometimes a stretch from the inner groin to the inner knee and around to the outer knee and back to the left hip is what you'll feel as you bend into that knee. Then press into that left foot, straighten that left knee, and we're ready for triangle pose. So reach out with that left arm and come down to your left shin. Remember, it could be your thigh. Bend your right elbow, bring that right hand to your right hip. Roll the right shoulder back to open the right side of your chest. Press the left buttock forward, the right buttock down to your right heel. Lengthen through the back neck. And if you choose, keep your hand on your hip or extend it straight up for triangle pose. Reach through those right fingertips, lift all the way up, pivot on your heels so the sides of your feet are parallel to the ends of your mat. Heel toe your feet in and come back to Tadasana. We're going to come to a little twist and then it will be time to rest. So please come down on your mat. I'm going to use my blanket. You could use a cushion, a pillow to sit on, a towel. It just gives your pelvis a little bit of a lift instead of being flat on the mat. So I'm extending my legs forward first. Coming into Sukhasana, I'll take my right hand to the inner right knee, pull that knee out to the side, position that right foot under my left thigh. Left hand comes to the inner left knee crease, lift that out to the side, cross that left leg at the middle of the right shin. And then pressing down into the sit bones, right on the middle of the sit bones, not rolling back, not rolling forward, but pressing straight down, lift through the crown of your head. Let your knees fall out to the side, wherever they go is perfect. So once again, we're coming to a twist, which is very important towards ending a yoga class. Take your right hand behind you, hold on to the blanket, the mat, the pillow, the towel that you're on, and take your left hand to the outer right knee, lift up tall, gentle twisting, left side of the body coming to the right. Take an inhale. Exhale and release to front and center. Left arm swings around to the blanket, the mat, whatever you're sitting on, and take the right hand to the outer right knee. It's really the left knee. Take an inhale, lift up tall, exhale, and twist slightly. Take an inhale, exhale, release, unwind, and come back to center. We'll take about 2-minute rest, Shavasana. And if you have a pillow or blanket or something to rest your head on, that's always most agreeable when you're in Shavasana. If you're Christine and you're sitting in a chair, you can come all the way back to the backrest as you sit in that chair. Let your feet touch the floor, Christine, and close your eyes. Everyone can close their eyes. Begin by letting your feet roll open. Your legs will roll open. Your palms are facing the ceiling. Not being forced into any position, but just resting. Your head rests on the back of that occiput ridge, and you close your eyes. All standing poses derive their roots from Tadasana. Follow your breath. Find comfort in inhaling for a count of 5. And then exhaling for a count of 5. Release your mind and all its thoughts to be opened later. Let your body sink down. Slowly and gently, we're going to transition. Roll over to your right side and start to lift your body up and sit in any way that is comfortable for you. Bring Namaste hands together at your heart. Let the intelligence of your brain bow to the wisdom you find in your loving heart. And to close our class, a smile costs nothing in money, time, or effort. A smile is literally true. It is literally true that a smile can be of supreme importance in one's life. For those struggling through the week, a smile may be just what they need to have a positive impact on their day and possibly their whole week. Lift your chin, open your eyes, smile, and namaste, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me in this class. I'll be back next week at the same time. So please join me again and we'll explore something else in yoga.